Sherrilyn, and then also with Rhea. So we thought that it would be great for us to get together. It's been a minute since we've talked about HCBS and everything that has to do. So welcome to you all for participating in today's HCBS discussion. We appreciate your time. A couple of things. So this is one thing that we've learned through Zoom is it's for engagement purposes. It's really, really great to have full participation, of course, have your cameras on. It's so easy to kind of get into multitasking, but we really want everybody to hear the same message. We want everybody to be able to ask questions when appropriate and when we can stop within a natural pause. So we do ask that you have your cameras on and also mute. We've been living in the Zoom world for quite a while, and that mute function is super important because it diminishes that background noise. So please take a look and make sure that you are on mute right now, because I'm hearing some background noise right now. Okay. And then questions during the presentation. If something comes up as we are, as we're talking through different areas, if you have a question, use the chat function to ask that question. Jamie Fedora is going to be moderating that and being able to interject in a natural pause. Sorry, guys. And so she will be able to help with that. If we can't get through all of the questions, then we'll be able to write those down and then get back to the group with any answers at the end of today. Okay. All right. So one thing that is helpful to kind of see who's in the room, and we all love it, are intros. So I'm going to call on people that are, I'm going to go through and call on you, and just if you could answer the questions that are on the screen. So your name, the company you're with, what your role is, and how long you've been with them. And then name one thing you know about HCBS. And it might be completely new to you. You might know just what the acronym is. Doesn't matter. No judgments here. We just want to be able to kind of talk about what is out there for HCBS and what you know about it. Okay. So I will call on you. So go ahead. Once I call on you, go ahead and unmute. So we're going to start off with Kent. Look at you.
Okay. Yay! I'm Kent Raymond. I think everybody here probably knows who I am, but I am the recipient rights officer for Summit Point. I will have been in this role now coming up on my start of my 10th year here in October. So I'm pretty excited, a little over 9 years. And I will be talking today about the one thing that I know, that HCBS violations are also recipient rights violations. So I will have a little talk about that later on today.
Awesome. Thanks, Kent. All right, we're going to go to Paige. And I'm just calling you off based on what your screen says. All right, go ahead, Paige.
Well, my name's Annette.
Oh, okay.
With Unity Group Services, and I've been here for 2 years, and this is my first time with this.
Okay. All right, Paige, thank you. All right, Jamie. F.
Is that me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Jamie. I am project coordinator here at Summit Point. I do a lot with the provider networks that you may have worked with me in the past, or you may hear from me in the future. You can always come to me with questions about the HCBS. I have been with Summit Point for about 5.5 years.
All right. Thank you, Jamie. Oh, all right. So we're going to go to Rhea.
So my name is Rhea Freitag, and I work with Southwest Michigan Behavioral Health. My role at Southwest is to manage all kinds of waivers and clinical quality. And so, yes, I've been working alongside Elizabeth for pretty much the 5 years that she's been in that role. I've been here doing this work. And I am supposed to know all the things about HCBS as your local lead, but I will share one random fact with you. We were the first region to complete the first round of non-compliance because of our great partnerships with people like Summit Point. So I'll just brag on us a little bit there.
Yeah, very good. Awesome. Thanks, Rhea. All right, Sherrilyn.
I'm Sherrilyn King, Compliance Coordinator. Most of you are used to getting emails from me regarding audits, your annual site review, and been working with HCBS with Elizabeth for a number of years now. One thing I know about HCBS is that our county's doing pretty good. We went out and saw some of our providers, several the last month, and really getting down to minor stuff that we're picking up. So we're doing pretty good.
Awesome. Thank you, Sherrilyn. All right, Dawn. You'll have to unmute yourself, Dawn.
My name's Candy, actually.
Okay.
I'm with Unity Group. I've been here for almost 4 years, house manager. And this is my first time in a meeting like this. But like I know about the base services and how you guys help with people and their needs and that.
Okay.
Good.
And how about HCBS? Name one thing you know about HCBS.
Yeah. I know you guys just help with specialized individuals with their needs and that.
Okay. Okay. All right, Dawn. Thank you. Or Candy. Sorry, I'm going. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and mute. There you go. All right. Next is Rose.
My name is Rose. My company is Precious Care Assisted Living. I'm the administrator stroke owner of Precious Care, and I've been doing it for 3 years now. This is my 4th year. And what I know about, it's my first time to be in a meeting like this, but what I know about HCBS is that they help people with disability to fit in the society.
Okay. All right, Rose, thank you so much. All right, Beth. Oh, Beth, you are muted, so you'll want to unmute.
Years. And what I know about HCBS is they try to help people people with disabilities live as much of a normal life as possible.
All right. So Beth, we missed the beginning of your intro.
Okay, I'm Beth and I work with Kretzinger Care Homes.
Okay.
And I'm the home manager at Kretzinger East. And I've been with the company for 8 years, but I've been in my role for about a little over 2 years.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you so much, Beth.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now I'm going to go to, I'm sure this is not your name, so it's UGS 2021. So.
Hi, I'm Lori Blair. I work for Unity Group Services. I've been coming up on my 2nd year here. I'm the program manager, and this is my first time Zoom meeting with HCBS. I'm honestly, other than I know that you're there to help us and to help all the residents, that's as much as I know.
All right, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Oh, Renee Clark. we'll start with you.
Hi,
I'll keep going with you.
Yep, I'm Renee. I'm with Community Living Support Services, and I'm the licensed designee and administrator. Oh, HCBS, just to kind of quickly sum it up, it helps to ensure that the rights of individuals with disabilities are honored, and also ensuring that that includes community inclusion and
Very nice.
integration.
Yep.
Very good.
Very good. Thanks, Renee.
Mhm.
All right, Monique Johnson.
Hello, I'm Monique Johnson. I'm with Beacon Specialized Living Services. I work at Ravine Home. I'm the home manager. This is all new to me. I've been with Beacon for a little over 2 years. And one thing I know about HCBS is that they really take care of their clients and residents.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. I'm going over to Tori's Galaxy A20.
Did you
You
say
are
Galaxy
muted.
A20?
Yes. Tori's Galaxy A20. That's the name. And you're muted right now. We can't hear.
I'm not for sure if that's me or not. My
There
name
we
is
go.
Noreen. I'm with Cornerstone Adult Foster Care. I'm the home manager. I've been with this company for 2 years, and HCBS is new to me.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. We're going to move over to Tony.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Tony Thomas. I am the compliance officer for Christ-Centered Homes. I've been with the organization for approximately 18 months in my role. One thing I know about HCBS is that it is the guiding principle for the recipients and their rights that are afforded to them, and to ensure their community inclusion as well.
Nice. Very good. Thank you, Tony. All right, Tamika.
Hi, I'm Tamika. I work with Beacon Specialized Living Services. I've been with a lead at Hammond House. I've been with them for about 2 years. This is also my first HCBS meeting. I really don't know much. I just know that you provide services to individuals with disabilities in a, I guess in a home setting environment or whatever.
Very good. All right, thank you. Okay, so now we're going to go over to Rayella.
Hello, my name is Riella Burrell. I'm with Burrell AFC. I am the administrator / owner / everything else. And what I know about HC, community-based living support, we try to make sure the clients are in the community and are treated as anyone else would. It's all about inclusion. That's what I say.
Very good. Thank you. All right, we'll go over to Alexandra.
My name is Alexandra. I am with Beacon Specialized Living. I'm currently the assistant home manager at one of the homes. And including the time that Beacon bought out the company I was with before, I've been at this for about 5 years now. I know with HCBS, like on our end, it's our job to make sure that the rights of our clients are being taken care of and that they are treated as well as any quote unquote normal individual.
Okay, thank you, Alexandra. Tracy.
Hi, I'm Tracy Bray. I'm with Kretzinger Care Homes. I'm the administrator of the company. I have been with them for 17 to 25 years. And I know HCBS stands for Home and Community-Based Services, to help people find the support they need that have limitations.
Very good. All right. Thanks, Tracy.
Hi,
You're welcome.
Tracy.
Hi, what's up? Bye.
All right. Renee. Sorry, Renee Burnett.
Hello, my name is Renee Burnett. I work for Beacon Specialized Living. I'm a house manager. This is a new position for me, and I do not know too much about HCBS.
All right. Well, you're in the right place then. Thank you, Renee.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. I'm not sure. I'm checking to see who else. Melissa Carlson.
Hello, my name is Melissa Carlson. I work for Beacon Specialized Living Services. I am a home manager for the Stagecoach home and actually in with Renee Burnett, who you just spoke with. Currently. I know that HCBS helps implement, I'm trying to find the right words to say this, sorry, implement the ability for the residents to have the inclusion and the access to the homes that they need to become self-sufficient. And they also implement regulations per privacy for the residents.
Very good.
Nice
All right.
job,
Thank you,
Melissa.
Melissa. Yeah, very good. C. Welch.
Hi, my name is Carol. I work for Beacon Specialized Living. I have been in the home manager's role for 3 years now. And HCBS gives our residents more access into the community and helps provide services within the home.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right. Patricia.
Hi, everybody. I'm Patty Lee. I'm with Flat Rock Incorporated. I've been with Flat Rock for a little over 4 years. I currently hold the position of clinical director. Been working with HCBS issues since 2018. Same thing all the rest of you are saying. It's about inclusion and access and quality of life and making sure that there aren't anything that's holding any of our residents back.
Great. Perfect. Thank you. D. Rogers.
Hi, my name is Denise Rogers. I'm with Beacon Specialized Living. I'm a home manager. I've been with the company since April of this year, and I don't know a lot about HCBS, and hoping this meeting will change that.
Good. Thank you. All right, Leah.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Leah Ortiz. I'm the executive director for the ARC of Calhoun County. I have been here for 6 years. I've worked in the community for 15 years prior with Summit Point. And I know many things about HCBS, many of the things that have already been said, but it's something that should have existed long time ago. Yet it's too bad that it has to exist because we should be doing these things anyway. Thank you for having me.
All right, thanks, Leah.
Thank you, Leah,
Jessica.
and thank you for your participation that you'll be having later on in the meeting. I appreciate all your input.
All right, Jessica. Lon.
Hi, I'm Jessica Lund.
A little feedback there. All right.
Is that
Whoever's in the room, they'll have to mute themselves in their computer, and then that will help. Okay, well, we'll keep moving. Lee Ellen Bailey.
Hi there. I am with Beacon Specialized Living Services. I'm a program manager. I have been here about 2 months. And so the things I know about HCBS are very limited, and I'm hoping to learn a lot.
Awesome. Very good. Thank you, Leon. All right, Marlo.
Hi, I'm Marlo Dairy, and I'm with Beacon Specialized Living. I'm one of the compliance directors, and I know a little bit about HCBS. I know that they're here to help ensure the rights of our recipients and community inclusion.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
William. Or Bill.
You know, I always tell myself I am multitasking. I'm sorry. You see my seatbelt. My name is William Chesney. I'm the program manager at Walters Home. I've been with the company 6 years. What I know about HCBS, I didn't want to use the same thing everybody else did. So one of the first surveys I ever took for them, we didn't do good on.
That was a common theme, William. There it was worded kind of weirdly. So yep. All right, thank you. Jaron Burton.
All right, Karen.
And even make the kitchen sink, the entertainment, however you make it.
Okay, Karen.
Yep.
Okay. Well, my name's Ron Burton. We're working for Cornerstone AFC. I've been there for at least going on 16 years now. And I don't know too much about the HCBS. So hopefully I'll learn something today.
All right. Thank you. I think it's L. Baker.
It's I Baker.
I Baker. All right.
My name is Israel Baker. I represent Beacon Specialized Living Services. I've been with the company for about 19 years now. And my knowledge of the HCBS is they advocate for the client's rights, making sure that I can just assist them with their goals and dreams. Downside, I think there's some confusion because it doesn't seem like recipient rights and licensing and HCBS is all on the same page. And I think it caused a little stress on the staffing side of things because we're caught in the middle of a bad game of pull and tug. So that's my opinion.
Very good.
Very nice description of it. Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. For sure. All right, Connie.
Hi, I'm Connie. I'm the house manager and I work for Cornerstone. And I don't know much about HCBS.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're here.
Thanks.
Yeah. Carmen.
Hello, I'm with Cornerstone. I've been with Cornerstone for 10 years now. I'm licensee designee and I'm involved in a lot of different corporate operations. It's nice to see some faces to names. So what I'd have to say about HCBS is that it supports person-centered services and it allows individuals to have least restrictive services as possible based on their individual needs.
Thank you, Carmen.
Yep.
All right, M. Betancourt. Sorry, guys, we're trying to get through these.
Hello, I'm Mandy. I'm with Beacon Specialized Services. I've been with the company for a little over 3 years. And to me, HCBS is services that we provide individuals so they can continue to live like out in the community instead of like in a nursing home or more restricted setting.
Very good. Thank you so much. Rhonda.
Hi, I'm Rhonda and I work for Community Living Supports. I'm the manager and I've been here for 5 years. What I know about HCBS, it's getting individuals in the community and then they have the rights that every other individual has too.
Very good. All right. Thank you, Rhonda.
You're welcome.
Okay. I think we got through everybody. Okay. So let's go ahead. I'm going to punt it over to Sherrilyn. She's going to take over.
Yellow. Hello?
Sherrilyn, you might be having technical difficulties. There you go.
Yes, I was muted. Okay, did we get through everybody? Did anyone want to pop up and say that we didn't catch who came in later?
My name wasn't called.
Mine's either.
All right. So if your name wasn't called, then just pop on, tell us who you're from, who you're with, where you're from, and we'll whip through these last few quickly.
Well, my name is LaSamuela Winter. I'm with Cornerstone and Dot Foster Care. I've been there for 4 years. What I know about HCBS is basically what somebody said is basically they provide services in the home so you don't have to go to like facilities and stuff like that. So
very good. Anyone else?
Yep, Jalen Johnson. Here, managing the home for 5 years now. And what I know about HCBS is it's all about the less restrictive setting in or out in the home or in the community.
Good. Anyone else?
Yes, I'm Jordan. I'm from Beacon Specialized Living Services. I've been with Beacon for 3.5 years. And what I know about the HCBS is it provides opportunity for the residents to be out in the community and for them to have a say in the day-to-day activities in the home.
Good.
My name is Tiffany. I work for Community Living Support Services. I'm manager 1. I've been with the company for 3 years. Something about HCBS, individual rights, participation in the community, in community life, and independence in making life decisions.
Nice.
Can you hear me?
Sure can.
This is Justin. I'm with Cornerstone. I am a manager here at one of our facilities, and I'm here to learn today. I'm not quite sure what all this is about.
Good.
Anita.
Hi, my name is Melissa Hill. I work for Cornerstone. I've been here for almost a year. I'm a manager. I'm new to this HCBS.
Okay, welcome.
Hi, I'm Kira Southern from Penfield Premier Living. I have Jacqueline Swift with me as well. Hello. She is the home manager of Penfield Premier Living South. And what I know about HCBS is just that it's all about helping the residents live their best life and let them do the things that they want to do with the least amount of limitations. And then Jackie's new into it, so she's learning.
Ditto. Okay. All right. Anyone else want a chance to get introduced? Otherwise, we'll kind of get this rolling.
My name is Kelly Fox. I work for Beacon Specialized Living. I'm the home manager at Wolf Lake, and HCBS is about making sure the residents have more rights than we do.
Oh, okay. I may challenge that throughout the PowerPoint.
That's how I feel about it.
Okay.
It's about letting them do pretty much whatever they want with least restrictions. And yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Well, I have enjoyed hearing everybody and seeing your faces. I usually see your name more often than I see your face, and you probably can say the same for me. So, all right, we're going to get going here. I want to again honor you guys' time and get through some stuff that I hope will be helpful. And through the introductions, I think it will put a little pressure on me to teach you guys something. So I hope I was able to put these PowerPoints together in a concise way. We did do a little bait and switch on you for this workshop. Our initial intention for this workshop was to go to what we thought, some point, the next step for HCBS would be looking at policies and how to write good policies and procedures that fall in line with the home and community-based rule. In the last 2 months, Kent Riemann and I from Recipient Rights have been going out and we've seen several providers. And while we've been going out, we've been talking to the staff and the home managers and kind of walked away feeling like there still needed to be some more education and support on to kind of HCBS 101, what is it? And again, from the introductions this morning, it sounds like there's a lot of newbies in the area or in the Zoom meeting. So I'm hoping this will be helpful. And then we can, of course, expand on this in the next coming year. I want to hear from everyone. I know people who know me know I can talk forever and ever and ever. So please stop me. I'm going to do some pauses at the end of slides as they come naturally, unless I need to go to the next slide. But I'll be doing that so that I can hear from everybody. So my cohorts on this panelist, I want you guys to put your experience, your knowledge, and your rumors in there for me. I love a good rumor. New providers and new home managers on the Zoom, we need your thoughts and suggestions as well. So when you hear something that you're doing it in a very creative way in your home, let us know, let's talk about it. And again, same thing about rumors. And for our seasoned providers that have been doing this for years and years, tell us your stories, let us know any discrepancies. If you work with 2 different PIHPs and one county is telling you one thing, Ria's here to help us with that and coordinate some of those discrepancies. And again, hashtag rumors. And then as I suggested to Leah pretty heavily, I'm going to be looking for our CLS providers. Home and community-based services can sometimes be heavy on the home end of stuff, but we don't want to forget about the community, our CLS providers, our skill building providers, and see how HCBS has affected them. So that's what I'm hoping we get out of today. Does this sound more exciting than going over policies and procedures and how to write them? Too early to tell, probably. So brief history. For those who have lived it, you may not remember it in this brief of a form, but we'll talk about this. So on March 17, 2014, HCBS has been around since 2014. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, that's the federal government, they set forth a whole new set of rules on how to deliver our services. So HCBS, it's not an agency. It's a set of rules that help guide us, a lot of people said, to providing community inclusion, to help them move about their home without restrictions. Almost everything everybody said is true. They aim at improving the person's experience by enhancing access to the community. Tons of people said that. Promoting the delivery of services into a more integrated setting. Sometimes there's confusion on this, meaning integrated settings in the community. So instead of bringing the doctor, the dentist, the hairdresser into the home, we're making sure our customers have a full community life experience like we do. And then of course, person-centered planning, expanding on the use of this. Person-centered planning has been around since the early 90s. So really kind of keeping that in place and making it a little more robust with some home and community-based stuff. So as I talk about in my orientation for staff at Summit Point, I always ask them to guess how long it takes once a rule is solidified at the CMS level, does it take to get down to our home managers and our staff on the floor? And as some of you can see, about 6 years, 7 years, some haven't even heard of HCBS, and it's been around since 2014. I remember it hitting my radar about 2017-ish. And I heard someone else say they remember 2018-ish. So it takes about a year, I think a year and a half for a federal rule to be made before it really gets us to hit the ground. And for those who really need to know the technical rules and how to implement it, there's quite a gap there. But back in 2017, we started having quarterly meetings for home and community-based services. Our quarterly meetings continue now, but they're more of a provider network meeting, and we include other things. But at the beginning, it was just home and community-based. We did in the boardroom downtown. We all sat around the table and we talked about what home and community-based looked like in our homes. It was really fun because we had some of our Flint providers attend. And Laura Smith sent me an email this morning saying she couldn't attend this morning from ResCare. They had the best story, scared the heck out of us. Coming from Flint over here, what do you mean no visiting hours? We had someone sign in as Mick Jagger at 3 a.m. What do we do with that? So they scared us. And they were right on the forefront of that. Davina and Laura and ResCare have done a great job really talking about these rules. So this was a couple of years of couple of years of meetings every quarter, looking at this and brainstorming. Any other memories from all those meetings, Elizabeth? You were at some, Kent, you were at some.
I plead the fifth on any of those meetings. I don't remember and shouldn't have to remember those things. People are doing a great job in general at this point. So I just want to keep the momentum going and making sure that we are moving forward with everything.
Totally agree. And there's, for you providers who have been around a while, there's going to be some words you're not going to hear me say because we're ignoring those things right now. Things that happened back at the beginning with the surveys and the corrective action plans and the heightened scrutiny. We're not going into any of that, but that was the fun stuff back in the day to kind of get the state started on all of this. So as new providers and new home managers and staff today, we're not going into that because it won't pertain, but those were good times. So 2018, they decided to put it in the Medicaid manual. So if you look at this, the whole manual, I think, is 2,000 pages long-ish. But really, if you pick out your area, it really gets in more digestible chunks. So the HCBS section in the Medicaid manual is 10 pages long. We're going to go over that a little bit more at the end and really pull this document up and look. But I always suggest to our staff as well as to our providers, look up in the manual what services you provide and read your section. Oftentimes the sections are 10 pages, 3 pages, 11 pages. It's not like a whole manual sitting at you. So they were serious. They put it in the Medicaid manual even. Let's see if anything else. And so now we're kind of up against some deadlines. So the current deadline, so compliance with our final rule, if you are an agency that existed before 2014, before the first discussions and the final rule came about, you have to be in compliance by March 2023. That sounds like they've had a lot of time to get into compliance, but I think as with most things, the state pushes things out and then we have to pull back a little and then we go forward, then wait, let's do this, and wait, we thought about this wrong. So we did over the years have some dates pushed back. We used to have to be at a certain level of compliance by 2018. They moved it to 19. There was a compliance date of 22, which I think this has been moved back to 23. So movement from the state and pushing back these deadlines. Okay, so before we go into any more details of this, first I want to see if there's any questions I don't know how many questions you can have about the history, but.
Sherrilyn, I did want to highlight that bullet that says new providers need to be in compliance prior to credentialing. And that is the state's attempt to close the door on any potential sites that might be isolating or institution-like. We can't have that because we don't have time to remediate on that. So that's really important. If you're a newer home, you had to be presumed to be compliant when you opened the door. So I just wanted to highlight that.
No, thank you very much. And the new providers, you'll recognize this. You had an HCBS provisional approval application form, which again, we're going to look at a little bit later. 2 or 3 page document that said, are you on the grounds of a nursing home or hospital or institution type stuff? And are you able to get people into the community? Stuff like that. So that's where you would recognize that. But you had to pass that application in order to be credentialed. And that's the way it is currently too. Thank you. All right. So we're going to go into some more details of home and community based, and we're going to talk about some trends that we've been seeing in our area and things we can work on. But as someone did point out earlier, there can be discrepancies between recipient rights, licensing, and the state of Michigan, those 3 entities as far as implementing HCBS. So Ken's going to talk to us next about how recipient rights and HCBS flow together.
Thank you, Sherrilyn. Yeah, the discrepancies between what the state will be saying, especially the licensing, and what recipient rights will say are some glaring caverns that we are not able to breach at this time. We're trying to work individually with the licensors to try to make sure that we are all on the same page when we are going forward as much as possible. So for those of you who have worked with me for a while, you know that I will do what is in the best interest for our clients first, and then work through on trying to fix any of the bureaucracy afterwards at that point. So I know a lot of the licensors in this area are newer to this, so they don't have a lot of history on the HCBS like the Rights Office might or SWIMBA might. So a lot of the new LARA officers are coming at this all new, and they're sticking strictly with what the licensing rules say. And those licensing rules have not been adjusted in a long time, especially to come in with the HCBS stuff. So that's where those 2 entities will be butting heads a lot. If you are running into problems and your licensor is telling you one thing and Rights is telling you something else, as a lot of you have, reach out to me and I will reach out to the licensor, and we will try to come to some sort of accord, understanding, or making sure that we can at least get it on paper on what both of us are saying. As for violations of any of the HCBS rules, those are going to fall under also recipient rights violations. So we are going to be the people that are actually going to be investigating for Summit Point any of the possible violations that could be coming in. A lot of these, and this is not all of them, but these are the major categories that Sherrilyn and I have been talking about and seeing. Discrimination. You cannot be putting anything in place that discriminates against a person's ease of access because of their disability. So clients should be able to come and go as they please, have free access or accommodations made for them at any of the AFCs or the semi-independent places that they are living. Make sure also that they should have free access for visitors. We obviously had some change in that with the governor's orders for the COVID, and of course that is an exception, and we will follow those rules and those guidelines as they come into place if they are implemented again. But the same as the access with telephone and mail, there shouldn't be any type of restrictions to say a client can't use the phone, that they can't have mail sent back and forth. When I'm talking about these things, I'm talking about the rules in your house. There should not be these things in the homes. If a client has a specific behavior that says that there needs to be, we address that in the treatment plan or the behavior plan, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. There should not be restrictions to people getting to their food, to their bedrooms, getting out into the community. This should be just like you and I being able to have free access to all of the things that make us and our home our own. So please make sure that if you're starting to see things that seem strange, like you have to set up an appointment with a client a week in advance for them to be able to go shopping, that's a little excessive. I mean, we should be able to accommodate getting clients to and from appointments or entertainment within a reasonable amount of time. Safe and sanitary environments. This is a big thing. We need to make sure that our homes are clean, that our clients who are unwilling to clean their rooms, licensing will tell you that you have to make sure that they have a sanitary room. That is one thing that we will help support you with and work on behavior plans and making sure our clients are working towards being cleaned. They're supposed to shower at least every 10 days is what licensing says. So we need to make sure that we can encourage them to do that. And if not, we need to refer them out to some behavioral supports for that. One of our biggest things that we want is to make sure that our clients are in the least restrictive setting as possible. So we don't want fences up around. Oh, question? Okay, we want clients in the least restrictive settings as possible. So we don't want enclosed, locked facilities. We do have some that have fences around them. Those are some exceptions, but they will also be in the client's treatment plan that they need to have that level of care. Summit Point does not use very many of those facilities at all, and we are very aware of which ones they are, and we will do extra monitoring to make sure that they are following the compliance of HCBS licensing and the client's needs. And the last thing is something that we need to get back towards. I know COVID was a real hampering of us being able to make sure that we knew about the choices that were out there because we were limited on them, but our clients should be having a lot of input on where they are living. They shouldn't just be tossed in an AFC home and said, this is where you are living. They should be able to tour the places beforehand, have an input on what that is available to them. But we also understand that there is only a realistic amount of facilities that are available currently at the state of Michigan. So we need to make sure that we are working within reason to accommodate the choice and balancing that against what we have available. So that's a quick and not extensive list, but the major categories that recipient rights will be coinciding with home and community-based services. I'm going to stop right there to see if anybody has any questions.
I don't have any in the chat. Just remember,
I don't see any in the chat either.
If you have specific questions while somebody's talking, feel free to type something into the chat, and then I can get to it when we have a natural pause.
You did.
Cheryl, you want to go on to the next slide?
Yes. So Kent and I have spent some hours together over the last couple of weeks, and we've had a lot of talk about HCBS and where it's going and where it came from. And we both kind of been doing this a long time. So we remember back in the day when people were moving from institutions into communities. And at that point, it was called community living or group homes. And it was the, idea that everybody should fit into a community and have their own community, regardless of their disability. So community living, group homes. And way back in the day, it was called dignity and respect, and it still is nowadays. Dignity is the right to make their own choices and have their own privacy and respect, and being seen as a contributing member of their community. So if you are hearing HCBS for the first time, which several people did say, these aren't hard concepts. They've been around, they've been repackaged, different bow has been on top. But as several people alluded to in their introductions, this should have been around a long time ago, or it does involve community access. Melissa mentioned privacy. That was great to throw that one in there. We often forget that. So we're going to jump into a few practical things that everyday stuff that you can implement. And we're going to talk then about where Summit Point's going in this next fiscal year. Here we go. So, surprise, surprise, there's no manual for HCBS. So we pick out a rule here, we pick out a rule there, off the CAP documents from back in the day, off the joint document from Lara and the state. We pull our things all over, there's no manual. If you guys are used to me doing audits, if I do cite anybody on anything, I cite the rule. Well, it's very challenging with home and community based because one of any rule, I think there's a lot of interpretations in some of the HCBS. So a lot of discussions from that. So the slide information that we're going to give to you today is based off of things I've read, emails, conversation. There's lots of home and community-based PowerPoints out there, but I'm trying to deliver it in a thorough way, but not necessarily comprehensive, because you could dig way deep into all of these, and I'll show later how deep you could go if you want. But I'm hoping that what we're going to talk about is practical stuff that you can use in your programs and should be already happening in your program. But I also am hoping that you'll hear some transparency. Elizabeth is the director of our community-based services, and she's been in on this whole HCBS thing from the beginning. She may have started it, we're not sure yet. But she not only supports you guys as our providers, but she supports our case managers and our supports coordinators. And you guys know turnover like we know turnover. So it's a constant training and monitoring and making sure these rules are being implemented correctly. So I'm hoping that with work on both sides, the case manager, what needs to be documented, as well as providers, we are on track to meet our deadline. So quick nutshell: choice, access, privacy. We're going to look at these individually next. So if we look at choice, so these are some areas people should have choice. And again, it's not comprehensive. They should have choice in every area of their lives, but these are the things that stick out. Address, they need to have a choice in where they live, and we know about emergency placements, and that looks a lot different. But this is also something that we work on with our case managers to try to find the time to get the customer out to visit the home prior to move in. When there was time available, it's been a long time since I've been out there as a case manager. We would try to even do an overnight. Can they stay one night and see if they like the home and if you adjust to them? I know times are rough out there, so I'm not sure if that's able to be done all the time. But that's definitely something home and community-based looks for. Did they have that choice? And it's typically documented in the treatment plan. They want to have a choice of meals, be able to follow their dietary needs, as well as choices of when they leave the home and what community activities they participate in. I believe it is, and I could be wrong, but take the kudos anyway. I think it's ResCare, Flat Rock, maybe CBI, where we're seeing weekly meetings with the housemates, where they sit down and they talk about the menu and who needs to go where next week as far as doctor's appointments, and who wants to go where next week. I think
where we saw it really well was at Flat Rock. They have a weekly meeting with every single one of their homes that we went to, and they're documented really well about the client's choices. So I thought that was really good. So I'll shout out to Flat Rock for that.
Perfect, and thank you for jumping in. And I want to say it was CBI, but I can't remember. A couple of years ago, I remember they do the house meeting and the housemates talk about what's going on, and then on the back, they document what wish or choice they could fulfill. And if there was a choice that could not be fulfilled, it was written down why it couldn't be. Staff shortage, COVID mandates, whatever. So then when an auditor licensor comes in, and you can be proud to show this is how we offer choice and what we do to give that to our residents. Decor, of course, choice of bedrooms, themselves. No huge issues here. The couple concerns we did see lately is a number on the door. So if you go into the home, the bedrooms are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, which is unusual. It's not something you would see in a typical home like my home. is a 3-bedroom home, but I don't have the number 1, 2, or 3 on each bedroom. Now I do have nicknames for my room. We have one room in Star Wars, so that's go to the Star Wars room type deal. So we've been seeing a lot of that lately. One reason was to help maintenance, which made sense. It helps maintenance find the room that needs servicing or whatnot. But we thought about maybe putting those numbers on the emergency map, so maintenance guy could look at the map. And then definitely talking to the resident as far as what would they like on their door, if they're having trouble finding their room, what they would like to designate as a reminder. So things to think about like that.
Hey, Sherrilyn, I noticed that Patty Lee has her hand raised, so I wondered if she had a question.
Go for it, Mandy.
Well, it was a little bit ago, you guys. I was going to ask you, Kent, how you would want us to proceed with documentation of the resident having a choice as far as address. Because normally when when somebody comes to us, when you guys come to us, you say, hey, we have this resident, do you have an open bed? We go, yep. And next thing we know, tomorrow they're moving in. Are you guys, your case managers, documenting that on your end to say, hey, we presented, we presented Bill with this place, this place, this place, this place, they chose Flat Rock?
Yes, that is not on the provider receiving the notification. That'll be on the case manager and the guardian working with the client to find an appropriate accommodation and placement. And like I said, with COVID, we had a hard time because everybody was locked down and required tests to be done and all this other stuff. So last year was a lot of shifting about. This year, we want to see people shifting back to where we were before, where you can actually take a client for a tour to come see a place and they can have some input saying, I like this and I like that, but I don't like this. So we can actually document that on the interviews with the clients.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Hello.
Thanks. Oh, go ahead.
Yes, I've actually another county requires for me to do a tour with that client and to actually meet that roommate before they move in. So I have an actual form that's filled out between the consumer, myself, and the caseworker, and is also signed by the other roommate that they are okay with them moving into that room.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, we have not seen that, but that goes above and beyond what we're asking for. So that's wonderful.
And I forgot to mention, if you talk about it, you have to share it. So what might see in a copy of that, Riella?
Yes, I'll definitely share.
Okay, nice.
Share our whole correspondence with Jamie, and then she will distribute it to everybody else.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you for sharing that. We want to share these ideas as well. So please jump in. We're going to talk later on a little more about access to community and kitchen. But next, actually, we're going to talk about that next. Look at me. All right. Here's a hot topic. So, along with choice, all residents or customers in your program should have access to kitchen, laundry, community, personal funds. This area gets lots of discussion. So in the kitchen, the food needs to be unlocked and available, needed items available. How we interpret this is they need access to what food and kitchen utensils that are needed on a given day. So this runs into your locking up of the knives, because that's been a big concern, and totally get it. So this has been one of those about, let's have a creative outside of the box discussion and how can we meet the needs of safety as well as access. So kind of how we've interpreted it is they need to have access to what they need for that day. On any typical day, and I've monitored myself, I don't use many sharp knives. I use them to maybe pop open the microwave package that I'm going to throw in, or the Ore-Ida fries that I'm going to throw in the oven, but not often do I that real big butcher knife that's like 1.5 inches. I can't remember the last time I used that.
I'm going to email Tori tonight and give her a list.
So we talked about really looking at the clients, who's living there and what they need access to. Bye. Can we make sure we're on mute, please? hear another conversation. So looking at your clients in the program, what do they need? Do they have a cooking goal? Do they prefer you to cook for them? What do they need throughout the day? A butter knife, typically. So really kind of assess your sharps in that way. Maybe put the super butcher ones for deer hunting and cattle ranching somewhere else and lock them up and making sure everybody has what they need. Of course, there are safety knives as well. So if you do have people who like to cook and you're still a little shaky, there are kids' safety knives. I don't even know if they're kids. I think they're just safety knives. So that's been an option we've been giving people as well. Anybody have other examples on how they've done with their kitchen access, sharps, or anything I didn't mention or said wrong? Or
I'm just worried about access, because anytime we put food out there, they literally just run through it. And I have a lot of diabetics on the whole, high blood pressure, and it's just such a concern. I know we're supposed to advocate for the clients, but it's almost like we're advocating to death, literally. I mean, I have some severe diabetics here, and we try to make it as healthy as possible. Also, in one of my homes, I have high acuity clients where a lot of property destruction takes place on a regular basis, and they tear up a lot of the refrigerators and flip the stove over. I mean, we're trying to be in compliance and keep that happy balance. How often do I have to replace a stove? Every time they break it, I gotta, it's going to be pretty expensive.
Ken, Elizabeth, you guys want to jump in about restrictions and adding that to the plan, or?
Yeah, I can chime in a couple things. Well, to answer your last question first, if the stove is broken, the stove needs to be fixed. So that falls under safe and sanitary environment. So if the stove is being broken, and I do believe that you're at one of the places that has an industrial kitchen and then a separate kitchen for clients to be able to prep some other food for themselves. Am I correct on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As for the snacks, you're going to need to have to limit, if you're going to be limiting anything through the person-centered plan, the treatment plan, or the behavioral plan for that specific clients. So that's where the restrictions will always fall, specifically for those clients. If you're talking about that you have that many high acuity clients that are that many of a health risk, you probably need to go about doing things a little bit differently and sit down with the PIHP and your team, your CMHs, to go over what type of clients you're having. Because if you have a medically fragile unit, we can try to make some different types of exceptions. But if you're just talking about behaviors and clients are just grabbing treats and running away with them, that's a little bit different. So I think it's a conversation that you're going to need to have with your CMH, and that's probably CMHs, because I know if we only have one resident there and you have 9 from another CMH, we're going to have to work together to make sure that we're all on the same page.
All righty.
Rhea, do you have anything to say coming from the PIHP level?
Nope. Individualize is like, that's one of my things I told you guys I was going to say is my biggest thing. But and I hear you on the challenges with the food. If it's a continued problem though, work with your case manager to get it in the plan.
There is something in the chat, Kent. So it says we cannot keep enough food in the house because they make extra whole meals 1 to 3 times a night. We have diabetics as well. We're concerned for their health, but caseworkers aren't eager to go through the rigorous path towards a behavior plan.
Well, I will say that I don't care if case managers don't want to go through the rigorous parts. That's part of their duty and they need to do that. And that's where I will hold them accountable. I don't just get to yell at the homes and the staff there. I also make the case managers do their jobs. So it is part of my duty that if a client needs a restriction, we'll work on making sure that is there in the plan. And if a client doesn't need it, we'll make sure that it's taken out of there. If you are having clients that are making extra meals throughout the evening time and stuff like that, that's something that we probably need to look at to find out why they are in need of so much food. Is there a medical reason? Do we need to have a rule out done that they are not eating the right food at the regular meal times? Do we need to accommodate them? But I'll tell you right now, sometimes I get the munchies at midnight and I get up and I make myself something to eat. That's allowed. That's the whole idea, that our clients are allowed to. But if they're making 2 or 3 meals throughout the evening, are they also eating the meals throughout the day? Is this a client that doesn't want to be up during the day and they're a night owl? Then we need to look into making sure that we are accommodating them for what needs they need.
I would add to the person-centered planning technical assistance guide might be a helpful read, because it talks in there about the fact, they give some examples actually about diabetics exactly in the person-centered planning technical assistance. They all have dignity of choice.
I wrote that down so we can get it to Jamie to put on our website or get it out to people, the person-centered planning technical guide. Lots more discussion to happen on kitchens and food. That does seem to be one of the biggest challenges. A couple other access areas: laundry, machines, and soap. We often see the machines are available, but not the soap. So they need to have what they need. So if they're not able to have soap for reasons, health and safety reasons, again, that goes back to the case manager. We'll talk about that a little bit later. If you don't have a laundry, a washer and dryer on site, that's okay. Then we would just talk to you about creating a policy or procedure on how you will make sure that they have access to laundry facilities. Even if it's going to a community coin operated laundry, that's fine. Just expressing how you'll show that access. Of course, access to community. Everybody talked about that. Yay, I'm glad so many people said that. So a little bit, some more technical detailing. We need to talk about access to the community, but yes, huge, huge piece, of HCBS. And we talked about the providers that have the weekly meeting and where do we want to go this week and what can we do? That's always a good way to make sure you're meeting the needs of them and of what they want to do in the community. Personal funds, I added last minute because I forgot about that one. I'm guessing we're okay. I don't hear a lot of problems with access to personal funds. Typically, I have providers, we have providers that have a little debit card that the person gets. Otherwise, the person has some cash on them, but all the staff, even on the midnight shift, have access to more cash if needed on a short notice trip or activity. So correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't heard a lot of pushback with the personal funds. Everybody's getting their money.
It's one of the complaints that's dropped off of our radar over the last couple of years. More people have gotten to the point where they are getting their funds from their guardian or their own money. And if they want to have the company lock it up, most of the companies have an agreement that says we can put it in the safe, blah, blah, blah. As long as you got a policy and procedure that states how you're going to be handling that, that's what we're looking for. And the ease of access. So it can't be just one person has access to that funds, because if they call in sick or don't come in, then the client doesn't have the access. So you just need to make sure that that's the ease of access for those funds is available.
And I can't see if Elizabeth's still on. I know partway through she had to switch her mode of communication, but she's always the one for wanting a Whopper at 2 a.m. and throwing that scenario at you. What happens then? So.
Yep, I'm here, Sherrilyn. Sorry, I had to
Okay.
hop off for an emergency, but yeah, that is always my like go-to example when we would go see providers is, all right, that's awesome that you have a policy and procedure. And let's say, you know, Harry does want to go down the street to go get a Whopper at 2 a.m. How can we ensure that he gets that money because he doesn't have a restriction for community access? So a lot of times providers are like, well, the manager has a key. But then what's that process in place just in the event that he wants to go get a Whopper at 2 a.m.? How are you guys going to make sure that that happens?
totally giggling because I used that example like in one of the first HCBS trainings ever. And there were people thinking that we needed to have like fleets of cars ready to take customers into the community. That is not the case. But we if they do have their own ride, we just need to ensure that we're not restricting them if their cousin wants to come in and take them for the Whopper. So that is just cracking me up, Elizabeth, that you've hung on to that example for 5 years.
I did. It's so good. It's a great example. Because who doesn't want a Whopper at 2 a.m.?
Right.
Just saying.
So if I'm ever out doing a site review and I ask you where your Whopper money is, then you'll maybe know what I'm talking about. So good news. Not a lot of struggles with that one, which ironically I thought that might have been one, but good deal. I think these debit cards have done wonderful for payees and providers and guardians. So, okay. I am just so proud of Melissa from Beacon. I think you said you were a Stagecoach for talking about privacy. That's often what gets missed. Yeah, choices. Yeah, community. And then we often forget privacy. So I made a note, Melissa, that you said that. So we don't have a lot of privacy trending going on. For personal privacy, they have to have the ability to lock their bedroom and bathroom. There are recommended door handles. I think what they say is it has to be one swift motion to get out. So they can't unlock a door and then turn the handle to leave. It has to be one swift motion, often known as pop locks, and something about egress.
Non-locking against egress, I do believe is the name.
There you go. And I'll show you the resources for that rule. So that was a big thing at the beginning. Everybody went around and changed their doors. So either have a pop lock and then everybody has a key to their bedroom so they can have that privacy. I think we now have more single rooms than we typically do doubles. So that's that privacy. Now, if it is a double room, the plan for privacy has been allowing a locked box of some sort. So if they had some type of private stuff that they didn't want their roommate to even have access to even look at, they can lock it away. I've been to some places who have a like a legal envelope size lockbox for paperwork, which is fine. But as discussed on Thursday, what if there's an Elvis collection and what would Rhea do with that if she needed to lock that up? So think about bigger things like some people have a store, the Foot Lockers, not the store, the actual Foot Locker that you put at the end of your bed that you can hook a padlock on. Or if it's a shared bedroom, they have separate closets and the closets lock, just as long as they have a way to put some private stuff that they want no one else to touch.
And room dividers, if you're sharing a room, it's really nice to have that privacy screen between the beds. So it gives you a little bit more feeling that you have privacy in your own room so you can change without your roommate having to see you.
Wasn't it ResCare that did that real nice?
Yes, I do believe, let's give a shout out to ResCare on that. They had some beautiful rooms and they were being shared and they had these nice screens that were dividing up the ladies' rooms, which I thought were really cool.
I did want to chime in. Privacy training is also important for your residents in terms of how your residents are going to handle their privacy. So I've also seen some really nice things just in terms of like, this is what we do. This is how we knock before we enter rooms. And we expect residents to do the same because we also want everyone in the home to be respecting the beneficiaries. So highly recommend guidance for privacy for your customers as well.
And socially having a place for when the person has visitors that they can talk privately with their visitors. And fair enough, this is limited to the floor plan of the home. But thinking about that as you're decorating your home, we've seen some really nice spots, a second living room, a den, and they'll say, and this is where company can visit with so-and-so so they can have privacy. So not a lot of whoop whoop in this section, but very important. One more shout out to Melissa, Beacon Stagecoach. All right, that is kind of such a nutshell of more the physical. And actually, oh no, we're going to get into this. There's one area I wanted to stress more. I can't believe we haven't said it yet. So what you're going to probably hopefully start hearing soon is the spirit of the rule. The spirit of the HCBS rule. And sometimes it's not something like has a doorknob. Sometimes it's the attitude of staff, right? Allowing someone to have those rights of privacy and recognizing that they have a right to go in the community just like you or I. So we're going to get into that a little bit more. But next few slides are going to be kind of the areas of focus that Summit Point will be doing when we come out to your sites this next year. One of the major things we're going to do, we've preached and preached and preached since 2017 about the restrictions and everything has to be in the person-centered plan. But I don't know that we've kind of got our head above water yet where we can go back and ensure those are all documented correctly, which protects the provider and the case manager for any restrictions we put in place. So that's what we're going to be looking at this year when I come out to your homes and there's restrictions. I'll be going back to that treatment plan and making sure it's labeled in there correctly, or if there's a restriction in place because of someone else in the home, it's in the plan how they are going to overcome that restriction type stuff. So that'll be a little bit, I'll dig a little bit deeper. I usually try to stay out of those and leave those for Elizabeth, but I'll look at them a little bit to make sure we're lining up. And I don't anticipate that we're not. I just want to.
Yeah, just to clarify a little bit too, restrictions, if it's any type of restriction, community access, food, it should really be in the behavior treatment plan. And so we're working closely with case managers and providers and with Kent and his team and my team to make sure that we're getting that correctly where it needs to go, and that we're teaching and helping support that customer to make sure that we can step down those restrictions. So we're increasing that independence too.
Very good. So these are the 3 areas. So I'll kind of dig a little deeper into each. So, excuse me, physical appearance. So we typically do this on our site review. You guys give us a tour. And we look at different things. With home and community-based rule that came out, they talk about signs being in the yard, notifying the community that this is an AFC home. We don't like to have those. We like it to look as typical of any community family home. And I say typical because we can always find, but my neighbor has an elephant in their kitchen. And so we just kind of go with the typical stuff, both inside and out. So fences, signs, don't really have problems with those. Lately, lots of postings in the home that wouldn't typically be in a community home. And I know this is a fine line to walk because when you guys sign on to work with us, we give you a whole packet of things we want you to hang up. And then in a year, I'll come back and go, take that down. So we have to be careful. And one suggesting to a lot of our providers to just take a walk around your home, and to the home managers, take a walk around and look at different things you have posted. And is that something in a typical community home that would be up? Seeing a lot of things in kitchens, people's behavior plans, people's dietary stuff. So just remembering if it pertains to the person, it needs to be in private. Their other housemates don't need to know their stuff. And if it's related to staff, put it in a staff area where only staff go, where they do their timesheet, where they do their notes. Sometimes it's just off to the side, sometimes it's in the basement. I know this is a challenging part though, but watching for these postings. And of course, no recordable cameras in the home. Just a few things. Like I said, this isn't comprehensive. I'll be giving you some resources later where you can flow through some more rules. These are things that kind of take away from the home-like atmosphere. It's not like the rules say you cannot have hinges that do nothing and just hang on your cabinets. But if we want to keep our homes nice and clean and looking nice, at one point those locks were allowed and now they're not. And we'll go through and do site reviews and we'll see just dangling locks hanging. And well, we don't use that anymore. Well, can we take the hardware down and just try to kind of make it look a little nicer? Same with the chimes on the door. Anything commercial grade typically doesn't go into a home. Payphones. I've seen commercial blow hand dryers. So that type of stuff, what would be in our home, and really think of it as your home. What do you have? And people always warn me to be careful because some of these things are a little nichey and cute to have. And I do understand that because I have a 4-foot bubblegum machine in my dining room. So a little kitschy. So I do get that. But when we look at kind of why we have some of these things in place, is it so they don't hide the phone, we do it as a payphone. So they don't tear the phone off the wall, they can't with a payphone. That's not the reasons, and is against home and community-based services. Cafeteria style dining tables, we've seen a lot lately, which they're cute. And I know that is one of the kind of newer things, I think, if you watch the home shows out there these days. But still does look still sterile, commercial. It's usually booth and hard. So, you know, we talked about that a little bit with Rhea, and just kind of looking for, are there other options as well? If they wanted to go eat in their room or go sit somewhere else where it's maybe not so cafeteria, hard booth style table, are there options available for that? And again, these things are really in that spirit of the rule, the spirit of, does it look like a normal community home that someone would walk into?
What I will also say on that is, like, when you start to tick a lot of them is when it gets concerning. You have like one, you know, one out of them, you know, because of X, or it used to be there, it's one thing. But when you see a lot of things on the list, that's where it just kind of raises our concern.
Yeah. And also when we see it for all. So if you're an agency that has 10 homes and all of them have the kitchen locked, that's kind of an all rule and not individualized per the person. So we kind of look at that duplication as well.
Which that was one of the things I said earlier, and I told everyone that I would, that's, I think, how a lot of people are overcoming some of the blanket restrictions is if you're able to show how you can individualize it for the person that doesn't need it. That is really what we need to see, is that we are not applying the same things across the board for all 10 residents or however many individuals that you have living with you. So the more you can individualize, that's better.
Any discussion here? I know there could be a lot of discussion.
Everyone's still awake, right?
I have a question.
Yes.
Now, I do have some cabinets in another home, and they do have locks in them. They're from a prior, it used to be an AFC home for 20 years, and I just took it over. Now, it's got locks made into the cabinet. We don't use the locks. I don't even have keys to them. But would I have to redo this entire kitchen?
No, that would be understandable. Yeah, I wouldn't even expect you to, I wouldn't expect you to do anything. I'm talking more like the stuff that could be easily removed if we could get rid of all that stuff. But yeah, good question. No, I would not ask you to do that, but you're right. Someone where they're kind of flush with the cabinet, it's not the hinge lock. Yeah. So
yeah,
those will
completely flush.
Yeah. Yep, I understand. Thanks for bringing that one up. I'm talking more kind of where you screw in the hinge and then the padlock and then the key. Good point. Yeah. Okay. One thing we're also going to be looking at, and kind of really sparked the change in directions for this, is looking for the spirit of this rule in the homes. So I want to look at stuff like staff training, and is there flexibility in scheduling based on what the client needs? And then, like I talked about, that general just kind of attitude from the staff. I only know of one provider, and I haven't asked everybody, but I only know of one provider that does an HCBS training for their staff. Are there more out there that do it? I believe it's Flat Rock that, and we've blown Patty's head up enough in this meeting. So Flat Rock has gotten many kudos, but I do believe
We do
It's
that, Sherrilyn.
very good, Patty. Thank you. Yeah, they do a HCBS training. Their staff's required to take upon hire, and I believe annually. Does anyone else have that? I want to say Beacon does too. Not sure.
I think Renee Clark, did you say that you just did? Oh, the ARC does as well. Great.
ARC.
Yeah, Beacon does. We do the trainings annually.
Yes,
Good.
we do that as part of our in-home orientation, and then we also do it regularly at our staff meetings.
Good. Very good. And we're talking some point about putting out some training stuff to help as well. I'll show you at the end a resource from the state that has a couple training PowerPoints for staff. I'm not sure if it gets at what you guys need or not, but I would like the feedback once we introduce those.
Hey, Sherrilyn, I noticed one thing that we forgot and we have talked about in our visits over the last few months is the not using the med room as a med room and having everybody line up to get their pills and everything like that. One of the nice things that an attitude and makes a consumer feels nice is the staff bringing the meds to the clients where they are meeting them to give them their meds, taking down that whole institutional line up to get your medications. It's 8 o'clock, everyone get your meds. So I want to make sure that they know that we'll be looking at that over the course of 2022.
Good point. Staff flexibility. I'm scrolling through my notes here. So flexibility and scheduling, I wanted to give an example of that, especially as it relates to community involvement. We've seen it done a few different ways, but we were at one site review or site visit, and a customer wanted to go to the movies. And the time she gave to the staff were, oh, we can't do that. That's shift change. So we were talking about, home managers being empowered, as well as staff being empowered to kind of move those lines a little bit. If the movie starts at 10:30, can you coordinate with the staff coming in at 11 and see if someone can come in a little early or a little late to make this happen for the customer? And we realize the staff can't do that on their own. They have to be empowered to do that. But stuff like that, looking at, is it a drop-off situation where the person's fine at the movies, sitting watching them, they just need a drop-off and a pickup? And what natural supports are there for that person? All stuff the staff should be trained on and empowered as much as possible, because they're the ones there at 8 o'clock at night when the customer comes to them or 2 in the morning and wants to go get a Whopper. So instead of calling the home manager and the CEO and all that to see what can happen, just giving some power to your staff to make some adjustments based on what the customer's needing then. And then the last thing we look at with spirit of home and community based is attitude, being empathetic, the whole stuff, putting yourself in their shoes. You guys know all of this. Where we usually see it on our end is incident reports, ironically. We'll get incident reports that I've written. The customer said they'd stop doing this because they didn't want me to write them up. So where did they get the thought that they'd be written up? And are they correlating an incident report with a write-up where they shouldn't even know what an incident report is? So it's that kind of attitude and power structure we look for and try to redirect. And I don't know why I put Kent's next slide here. It doesn't really make sense. It should have been up earlier. We touched on it a little bit, but Kent was going to talk a little bit on documenting these restrictions because as rainbows and butterflies, as HCBS sounds, we all know that we work with challenging people for a reason. So it can't just be access for all. It has to be individualized and look at the person's health and safety needs. So Kent, if you want to.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I handed at this and so did Elizabeth a little bit ago. We need to make sure that if we are going to have some sort of restriction in place, to limit somebody's ability to go into the community, use of phone, mail, visitations, any of those things that we're going to be limiting someone, it needs to be in one of two places. The majority of these things, as Elizabeth said, should be in the behavior plan addendum. That is because we're working with the client to change their behavior. We're going to make, try to have them be less aggressive, learn how to properly use a telephone, not to obsessively call 75 times in one day. So that is where we're going to find all of those things for these clients. And make sure that when you have one of those behavior plans that you're doing the data, because if you're not doing the data sheets that go along with them, the justification and restriction will fall away because there's no reason for it to be there. If you don't fill out the paperwork, we can't justify the restriction, so we can't have it in place. The other one is if it is a cognitive reason or a safety reason, the client just doesn't understand that walking in traffic is dangerous for them, then that needs to be put in their treatment plan, that they need to be supervised all the time. There's nothing that we can do to teach them that might change their behavior on those issues, and they will be in the treatment plan, and those are still reviewed by our BTC committee. They're supposed to be reviewed at least once a year. The ones with the behavior plan addendum, those will be reviewed every quarter. So those are ones that are actively on my radar and Elizabeth's radar with her case managers to make sure that we are addressing all of those needs. I think all of you know that our behavior plan team is pretty accessible. If you guys have questions or concerns, please reach out to myself, Elizabeth. Dr. Field will be moving to a different, he will continue to be our clinical director, but Dr. Peck will be taking on the role of running the BTC. So if you haven't met her yet, she's been with Summit Point off and on for the last probably 5 years. So reach out to her as well, and we'll be able to get any of the issues addressed. Especially, you guys know I love to pull meetings together. If we are having a client who is having an excessive behavior that we need to address right away, I will ask for meetings, or I will ask for expedited reviews, which means we need to get to that within 24 hours of you sending it into Summit Point. We will get a hold of the behavioralist and we will get this addressed ASAP. So any questions on those, or the need, or how we follow restrictions here at Summit Point?
Go ahead, Patty.
Thank you. The first thing I'd like to say is thank you. Some of the other counties that we've spoken to aren't willing to recognize the safety cognitive level. We've heard from other people, too bad, so sad. And I can only imagine what that's going to lead to at some point. So my question about restrictions based on safety, are you folks anticipating that we will be involved in that restriction, or is that again something that you're thinking would come from the case manager, from the things that you guys are doing on your end?
I expect that if you're seeing something, you're working with a person 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you're seeing something that we're not, you should be raising that issue with the case manager. Then the case manager will work with you guys to see what we need to do about that. There might need to be some testing that goes along with it. There might need to be some tries at rule outs for other things. And then there might be some possible needs for behavioral interventions. And if they don't work, then we will go along with that last resort of it's implemented in the treatment plan.
Okay,
Elizabeth,
all right, super.
Yeah, I was just going to say it should always come from the person-centered planning process. So with the customer there, with the provider there, with their circle of support there, to be able to help provide feedback and to see where the customer wants to move and what do they want to work on, and what are these other, and their guardian as well. Whoever is involved in their support, it should always come from the person-centered planning approach.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate that, because definitely we are concerned about you get someone who's diagnosed with ASD and a severely impaired intellectual ability, and we're being told, yeah, let them cross the street, let's see how it works out, and it hurts our hearts because it's not going to work out well. But anyway, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yes. Anyone else?
Yeah, I have a question there
Yeah.
as well about safety. I've had that concern with a consumer as well. And sometimes you don't get help from case management. It hasn't been with Summit Point at all, but sometimes you don't get the assistant. Now, do you all have another step from the caseworker? Because in my experience, I've had to go to the court and petition myself. Does it have to go that far with Summit Point as a provider?
Let me answer that. No. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Elizabeth.
I guess I would say, so if you're not getting what you need from the case manager, then you contact me. Or you contact Kent and I or whomever, but in regards to case management for some of your next person to contact. Now, in regards to guardianship, if there is a question, if there's a concern, if you're not getting what you need from the guardian, that would be some concerns that you could take to the court. But again, it should always go through the case manager because there could be some other things that the case manager can help with when it comes
Right.
to the guardian as well. So always start with the case manager.
Okay.
If for some point, if you're not getting a response quickly enough, if it's emergent or something, always you can shoot me in on that email as well.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions, concerns, suggestions?
I
All right,
have a,
oh, go ahead, Tracy.
yeah, just I don't know, something I noticed because there's huge turnover rates with everyone right now. A lot of times the case workers are switching up so much, it's hard to even figure out at certain points who the case worker is. Also, something I noticed when the new case workers come on, maybe taking time to read the paperwork before them so they are aware of, behaviors and things we worked on for years that have gone to the wayside because now there's a new caseworker. So,
so that's great feedback, Tracy. Agreed. We are, as is every industry across the United States, is
agree.
having a lot of turnover, right, and a lot of change. And we have a lot. I have hired on our IDD team. We have, if you count the last 4 or 5 months, I have 5 new case managers just on that team alone. On our MI team, I have 1, possibly 2 coming shortly on that team, an SBH brand new team. So there's lots of change. We have implemented, and you should be getting, if you have concerns or you don't know who the new case manager is, again, please reach out to me.
Right.
There are letters going out to providers. This is something we implemented a while ago. This is something I have trained all of my new case managers on. When there is a change, when they are taking on their new cases, that they are sending a letter to the customer guardian. They're supposed to be a warrant transfer, meaning that previous case manager takes the new case manager over to meet and greet, to meet with that person. And then letters are also going out. So, but again, if you have questions about who the new case manager is, please contact me directly. I can let you know who they are.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And all I can say, Tracy, is it works all different directions on this. I have seen over the last year, new home manager, new behavioralist, new case manager, and new doctor for clients. Just one client got all of those switched all within the same time. And it's really hard on our consumers. So I think if we all just remember that this is something that we're all going through right now, and just take a deep breath before we start complaining and yelling about, people not being able to access things, or not seeing people, I think that'll help a little bit, because we're all in the same boat trying to help our consumers. But there's so much change going on with this last year of everybody just getting new jobs.
I fully agree, Kent.
All right, we have about 15 minutes left, and finally, we're here at the reason for why we're meeting today. Policies. This was the original intent of this meeting, was to spend the hour and a half talking about policies and how to write them, but last minute we switched gears and did a little more HCBS 101 and put a hit out for every home manager in our area to attend this meeting to hopefully push this focus a little bit farther to those that have their feet on the ground. So this is definitely something we can schedule for another time. I did want to give some examples of things I've seen. Kind of this is if we didn't document it, we didn't do it. And if we don't have a policy saying we allow people to be access to the community, that means we don't do it. So we need to get our policies in place. So we'll talk about this at future meetings and see what the need is out there. I've seen it done a couple different ways. I've seen 3-page policies on how you allow your people in your program to have access to the community. And I've seen 2-sentence policies like the one here. We believe at Caring Hearts that our participants have the right to their own community, and we're committed to this. And, you know, just even a couple sentences like that to kind of hit each one. I'm going to stop sharing this screen for a minute and go into something else. I'm trying to leave time for a little discussion. I wanted to share something else.
We do have one question, Sherrilyn.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah,
give a second.
Yep.
Somebody asked, said, one of my concerns is that residents get to bring anyone in the home, people they don't even know.
That is a tricky situation. We have to place the safety of the individual and the safety of the others, along with balancing the rights of the individual to say, I have a friend and I want them to come over to my house. This also gets into the sticky wicket of a person deciding that they want the person to stay overnight. And we've had discussions on that. So again, I like to talk about these in individual terms instead of just broad strokes and say, you can't do this, you can't do that. The client has the right to have somebody come over to their house. But if that person is now putting that client at danger or the other residents in there, then we can step in and say that there's something that we need to do to make sure that everything is safe. So that's kind of more of an individual question that I would like to follow up later on with if you have concerns about a specific individual doing that.
It's about everybody at my home, like all of the girls that have the ability to have people over, they all make really poor decisions on who they choose to come over. And it's normally people they just meet for the first time on a dating site or on Facebook. And it's really dangerous. And when the guys come here, they're super creepy and they've done inappropriate things almost every time, whether it's even touching one of the other girls, you know, or like smacking them on the butt, or just there's something happens every single time that's inappropriate by the choices that people make to people to come over here. And my concern is, what if one of them had a gun? Like, what if they came in here and like really tried to rape everybody in the house, or like that? We've had some creepy people come over here.
Did we freeze up?
I was just going to say, it sounds like a safety issue that you need to bring to your case managers so you can explore documenting it and discussing it in person-centered planning to ensure that everyone's safe. Because you are right, you have identified safety issues which can be addressed through the PCP process.
The only side that I would say is that we don't want to end up generalizing that all of the people that are coming over here are always going to be harmful. We have to take it as a person-to-person, case-by-case setting.
And I do want to offer up after this meeting for sure is with individual cases like that, Kelly, set up a meeting with us, whether it's Kent and Elizabeth. If you need me there, I'm not sure that that's the right spot for me, but definitely what we want to get across is we're here to brainstorm with you and figure this out. So definitely reach
right
out
there.
after this for more detailed guidance. I did want to take a few minutes just to pull up the state of Michigan's Home and Community-Based Services Program. That's what everyone's looking at right now. Oops, there's the sentence I stole in my first slide. I didn't make it up. I just took it from here in March of 17th of 2014. Our forefathers at the center first. So I read that earlier. But this is where all your information is. This is the Medicaid provider manual. I told you we'd look at this a little bit later. I do want to pull this up right now to show you, as I was talking about policies and how they can be a simple couple sentences. So let's take our advice from the Medicaid manual here, because if you look up the rules they have with access to food, it's 3 sentences. Access to visitors, individuals must be allowed to have visitors of their choosing at any time. So when I talk about policies and they don't have to be 3 and 4 pages, they don't. The Medicaid manual is able to throw this out in a few paragraphs or less, a couple sentences. So this is a good spot to go look as you're doing your policies. This is what the Medicaid manual dictates in order for them to pay for services. So if you want them to pay for your services, this would be a good spot to kind of look at some policies. Real quick, I know we're running short. This is where you'll find, if you're a history buff, where it all came from, the final rule. More going back and forth in the 2020 on different stuff. But if you guys start at number 5, I want you to ignore 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is all those darn surveys and caps and heightened scrutiny we talked about. But I looked at these earlier, and if you guys can start here, this gives you a pretty good HCBS 101. The letter, it says it's a survey, but I can pull it up. This is a survey you first fill out to get provisionally approved. So this will look familiar with those few questions, and then we come out and take a physical look. So if you want to look at those questions, again, it's just really pulling from all these documents. Someone mentioned Lara and the state not quite matching up. Here's a state and Lara joint guidance document. This was at the beginning when we were fighting, and you saw a lot of that. Lara disagrees with the state. Well, they had a big meeting, and this is what they've agreed on. So some of those could be cleared up from that. There's the readiness tools. If you want to pull those up, and then you can, they tell you what the rule is and also how you can comply with it. They give you the practical breakdown of what you need to do. And this is where we find the wording for the doorknobs, and they need to be 1 movement opening. And so the rule, and then how you can achieve compliance.
Those readiness tools are really good. If you don't know, if you were one of the people that said, I don't know anything about this, that joint guidance document and those readiness tools are really great. There's a video even down there.
Yep.
You can watch a video of the state telling you what Lara can and can't do. So lots of really great resources on this page.
Yeah, person-centered planning. There is also a PowerPoint for direct care staff, or a video. So if you wanted to start training your staff, we're going to be looking at some training as well to help you guys with that if that's what's needed. So lots of resources. It can be overwhelming, but we kind of pointed out the ones. Here's all the education. So if you want to look at any type of training, that would go there. I want to leave it open for last minute comments or questions, and also advice on what you need from us. What more can we do? Another workshop like this with more detail. We're always open to those suggestions. So panelists, final thoughts, providers, anything we can do to help?
All I can say is reach out if you have questions, concerns. I would rather answer questions and help you guys get to where you be than have you fail an assessment or have a recipient rights investigation. So I am here to be proactive and to help you guys out with whatever I can. I know Elizabeth feels the same way. We will field calls and we will help people out. Sherrilyn's the mean one who doesn't want to help anybody, so she just. And I hope you guys did find this useful. I know a lot of you who have been through HCBS, this might have been a little simple, but when we started looking at this, we kept finding more and more people that didn't know what HCBS is. So we wanted to start with a 101 first and then move forward from there.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's about working together, and we appreciate everybody within our provider network. We want to make sure that you're successful, because when you are successful, our customers that we serve are successful, and that's the main thing. Is we want everybody to live the life that they want to live, and our providers help our individuals get there.
And definitely home managers, talk to your BOSSs. And if you enjoyed this, let us know. We typically get the directors and the regional directors and that stuff, but sometimes we want to talk to the home managers. So if this was helpful, let somebody know, and we can provide more stuff and include you guys more if it's helpful. We'll have the PowerPoint out. We've got a slide with all of our contact information, so you'll see it there. The last slide was also a link to those resources I showed you on the state website. So instead of browsing, I'll send it out where you can just put the link and it'll take you right to it. Another plug, someone will have to help me with the date of this one, Rhea. The Hour to Empower is in September. I had a slide, I don't want to waste time flipping back. But that's in September. We'll send that link out. And it's a bunch of customers and participants talking about how home and community-based services will change their lives and really help them continue to move in a forward direction in their lives. So it's just an hour. I think it's at noonish. I'll send it out. Just a hearing kind of the outcome of this. You guys do all the work, and when you're in it daily, you probably can't see the positive outcomes of what you do. So take a minute, reward yourself, and watch some people talk about the impact that people have had on their lives, and that I know you guys are doing on the lives of our customers. So 3 minutes, 3 minutes.
There's just
Anybody
a
else?
comment in the chat. Alexandra said, I feel as though this presentation would be beneficial to all employees straight from the source for immediate access to resources and clarification. I'm not sure if you mean like us training the staff at your locations, or if you mean like a training from the state or something like that.
Yep, definitely reach out to us. Let us know. We'll either gather it, find it out there for us. If you'd like us to deliver it, we recorded this webinar. We'll see what I look like if we want to distribute that out to everyone. So good suggestion. So clarify that for a little bit for us, and then we will we'll work on it.
We didn't even get a good rumor. I thought we were going to get a good HCBS rumor out of this whole thing. You set us up, Sherrilyn.
I know, nobody had nothing.
She said if all staff could go through this training with us, it would have a great impact.
Gotcha. Very good. All right.
I think with myself, with training the staff, I bring up all of these guidelines, and they're basically rules, but
right,
way of the spirit of achieving this HCBS. But I've never told them HBCS. I've never used the initials. I've never used the word. But are they to have access to that kitchen and community? Yes, they are. They could answer the question, but they wouldn't know the actual meaning. So that's something I can do better on my end.
No, and that's fair enough. And like we had said, this is kind of stuff that's been repackaged under a different name before. So if they get that concept, it's the name that we're changing on them. And we'll ask the staff that, what do you know about it? Or what do you know about this? Or how do you treat the customer? So very good point. All of this could be under 6 different names. So we need to be aware of that as well when we're talking to people.
I love this suggestion. How can we do, how can we collaborate and do better with getting all of our staff from homes to our community-based providers, making sure that everybody gets that same information, and maybe there's some different things that we can do within our county or regionally as well.
Mhm. Very good. Jamie, is there a survey going out after this?
I will happily send one out. I think we talked about a survey of like, you know, who else would be interested in another session like this or a workshop on something else that there might be a lot of questions about. So we can set.
Yeah. Just interested to get the feedback with so many people on, and if this was kind of the format that is beneficial. So whatever. All right. I was happy to see all your faces. Very excited. I took a year off and now we're going back out and seeing places. So I'm coming back out at you. But it's good to see everybody. All right. Any final thoughts?
Have a wonderful day.
Yay. Thank you, everybody, for your time. Really appreciate it.